Welcome to Letting Go of Perfection. Just warming up.
Perfection, perfection, perfection.
All right.
This is stupid.
I'm warm. Okay. Are you perfect? Let me ask you, are you perfect?
I'm not perfect.
I'm not perfect either. Let's let go of perfectionism.
Okay, today we're talking about 3 easy steps on how to help you let go of perfectionism with your DIY projects.
3, 2, 1. Oh, dang.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to the Your Home Renewed podcast. This is Jen.
And this is Jen.
No.
It's Trent.
It's Trent.
Trent Fancher.
Today we are talking about perfectionism, and that is something I think that you and I both struggle with.
You emphasized you kind of held on to that a little longer.
No, we
both really suffer from perfectionism.
I think that it's well, when I first fell in love with you, I went to see your dorm and everything was neat and straight, and except for 2 pins on your desk. They were just slightly askew, and you took a moment to straighten them to where they were perfectly lined up, and then my heart did a little.
Everyone likes to see
pitter-patter.
Bic at the very, very top.
I prefer Pilot.
Well, and you can't mix Bic and Pilot. You can't have Bic, Pilot, Bic, Pilot. It's got to be the one.
They've got to be all the same pin reiteration.
How do you say that pencil name? Tachyronda?
I don't know.
Tachyrondas? Tachyrongia? Anyway, we'll look at those up. Man, wish we had a Google search to instantly in our brain.
Okay, so here is the truth of it all. The perfect home does not exist. It exists in your mind. It exists maybe on Instagram or on Pinterest, but the reality is you don't see half of the junk that is shoved out of the frame of the shot to get that perfect look that they have snapped that picture of.
So then it's full circle that, again, there's no perfect home, and you think it's perfect on Pinterest and Instagram.
Right.
But it ain't perfect.
No.
Yeah.
But there are times where, and we've experienced this in certain projects, where we just continue to obsess and focus on one thing or another instead of just actually moving on and making progress in that room.
That's true. I remember thinking in every project we've done, I've become very frustrated. My perfectionism kicks in, and I start obsessing over every little minutia. And then I don't even remember what that was in that room over there or that room over there.
Right.
I don't know now. So it seems a little foolish to spend so much energy.
Right. Focusing on just that one
something that's not going to matter. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you, how can you, when you are in those moments and you are stressing over, like someone who we know and love in our lives who will go to the Home Depot store and will spend 45 minutes looking for the perfect screw instead of just doing what I do and getting a screw that doesn't match out of the toolbox that still holds the piece together.
Does anybody else have that box of screws that it's every size, shape, fastener? It's all mixed, but you're like, when you search through it, you're like, God, that's the perfect screw.
So how do you help the person who is in the middle of a DIY project and is obsessing over one thing that just so happens to be slowing down the process, or even if it's causing them to not even begin the process? Like if it's not going to be perfect, I don't even want to start. So what can we say to that person? Because we've been in those places ourselves.
Well, how are you going to progress if you wait for perfection?
Right. Well, and we used to tell our son all the time, progress over perfection. He would get caught up that it would not be done perfectly. And we had to say, yeah, but you're doing it better than what you did 2 years ago.
And I think most of the time you'd be surprised that when you do something, a project or redo a room, you might look at that and go, hey, that's actually pretty good.
Right.
And then you learn a skill for the next time, and you learn how to overlook some things that don't really matter, and then maybe learn things that do matter. So like for instance for me is drywall work. That's something that I was really impatient about, and it took me a while to finally learn a skill where I'm now like pretty confident that I can get a nice flat hidden look. But I think I was obsessing over certain things that didn't lead to a better finish. I was obsessing over a tool or the kind of mud that I was using and thinking that must be it, rather than searching out a way to make things easier. Yes, good tools are good, but sometimes you just have the plastic thing that came with it. But, you learn a little secret, and without going into much detail, I learned that adding a little bit of water to drywall mud made it much easier to work with.
Right.
And suddenly that got me over that hump. So that's progress.
Right.
And are my walls perfect? No, but they're better.
Right. Well, and we had the opportunity to move into a freshly built home, and those walls weren't perfect.
Not even those.
No. So I think to go away, so the first thing would be maybe look at your progress over perfection. But then you mentioned something that was really important. Just stop obsessing.
Yeah.
You spent so much time over that, just the one swipe wasn't right, and you would just get so mad.
And then now it's painted over and blends in, and you walk past it every day, and you don't
never
even
see it.
Really see it.
Right.
We do that a lot in these podcasts.
Okay, so another thing to factor in is if all you are focusing on is the stuff of the project, or the stuff of the materials, or the decor, or whatever.
The stuff of, I got to have this perfect room.
Yeah.
And I got to have this beautiful thing,
Versus the substance, which is the time spent in that room, or what is the purpose of the room for, then you are losing the battle immediately, because it's that analogy that I've heard time and time again of, using your life as a bank account. So if all you're doing is depleting the resources from the bank account and never making deposits back into it, then you have nothing left to give. So in DIY projects, if all you're doing is focusing on that DIY project instead of actually taking the time to use and enjoy, like taking the time maybe in between DIY projects to enjoy what you accomplished and refill that account, so that way when it comes time to do that project again, it's not frustration upon frustration upon frustration.
Well, I think we've done a fairly poor job of enjoying some of the rooms that we redo, because we are so worried about perfectionism and don't mark up the wall, don't sit on the couch, you're going to you're going to put a mark in there, or you're going to do this, or the couch is going to start sinking.
I know that's all me you're talking about.
Well, it's me too though, and especially when you got kids and they're jumping around or running around, or maybe pets or something. You can drive yourself crazy, but the point is your kids are actually soaking in family time during that, and they're hanging out with their friends, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, those friends have been walking outside, now they're sitting on our new couch, get out of my house.
They're eating Cheetos on our sofa with their
we might have
fingers.
to draw the line at the Cheetos. But that doesn't mean they can't sit and watch a movie or something.
Are you all for like the 1960s cover your furniture in plastic? You want to institute that?
That's kind of
in our home.
All right. So see, there's people worse than us.
Well, I think that's where it stems from, is that idea of that's this picture perfect, magazine worthy home, that I think is, you lose the essence of actually living in your home and enjoying it. Okay, so let's talk about some steps that everyone can do to try to conquer that battle of perfectionism when it shows up.
Yeah, tell me, because I got to learn.
Well, I'm learning too. Well, I would say the first thing is to get rid of the all or nothing mindset. I think that it has to be this perfect tool, or that other tool's not going to work, or
Right.
it has to be this exact perfect white, or the white in our room isn't going to work. Now, can you make mistakes and you think that you chose a great color and,
Yeah.
oh, wow, that's a really bad color. We've got to redo it. We've done that
It
before.
happens.
And that happens. But I think the all or nothing mindset is the screeching tire thing
Yeah.
that you can get rid of
Right.
pretty easily, to just recognize, okay,
Yeah.
this will work. This will do. This
Yeah.
will still make this home
Yeah.
much better, because we are taking the time to make a small improvement, even if it isn't the dream improvement that we're trying to make.
Okay. Well, that made me think of a way I deal with my stress of perfectionism.
Okay.
Next time you're out somewhere, or maybe at somebody's house that don't do things themselves, hire professionals, but this generally happens at, a Chick-fil-A or something. And you're in their restroom, or you're walking across the floor and you're looking down, and you will start to notice all the terrible details of the job that the construction workers that were hired, the professionals, did. And the tiles will be misplaced, and the grout lines are too thin here but too thick there, and you're thinking, these aren't really craftsmen, and they paid for it.
Right.
So then when you look at your own work, and sometimes that I would complain about my own work because it's got to be perfect. And then I look at my own work and go, hey, that's not half bad.
Okay, so
And I didn't have to pay for it.
can we talk about the light switch cover screws?
Yes, you must always, this is the one exception to perfection. You must always line your flathead screws in the vertical position on all light switches and electrical outlet covers.
If you come into our home and we have not made over the room, you may see the light switch screws.
That's how we
askew.
know what room we haven't done.
It is. That's the telltale sign.
Yeah.
Because whenever we have swapped out electricity, or we've even just taken the faceplate off to paint the room and put it back on, the screws are perfectly
They can't
lined
be
up,
like
vertical.
that. It's got to be just right. And it's so satisfying. So that's the only exception to the perfection rule that I will allow. Because if you do it horizontal, then you got a dust ledge. There's another ledge for dust to collect on. So who needs to be dusting their outlet cover screws?
So here we confessed something of our
That's
own
right,
little
yeah.
perfectionism
Yeah.
that we struggle with.
We're trying to be perfectly not perfect, and
Yes.
that doesn't work either.
No,
but we're
it's
still
imperfectly perfect.
it's progress
That's right.
over time, and but the rub of it all is perfection will never
No.
come to us.
Okay, so another way that you can overcome the stress or problem of perfectionism in any of your projects is to break down your goals into more realistic steps.
So don't eat the whole elephant all at once. Chew on the
Well, we kind of did that with our kitchen. I wanted to knock down a wall. I wanted to change out our countertops and swap placement of certain appliances, but we didn't have the budget to do that. But we still needed to make over our kitchen. We did the first step in creating that space that we could still enjoy, and it's already a huge improvement
Yeah.
from what we had when we first moved in.
Yeah.
Is it our dream kitchen? No. But we were able to break it down and make a good enough change
Yeah.
to last us through until it's time where we can afford to make the changes that we want to make.
Again, progress over perfection saves you a little bit of money. Learn new skills, apply new skills to a larger renovation like that, and you get the ball rolling that way. I think that's a good idea.
See, you're already picking up on the movement.
It's like a train. They go, all right.
Okay, so I think the last step in battling perfectionism is to actually celebrate your successes. You did the project. If this is the first time that you painted a room, you painted a room. You actually did something. You rearranged a room to have the furniture placement that you have finally enjoyed. Celebrate that.
Heck yeah.
And actually enjoy the fact that you took that step. You were able to get over that hurdle of the DIY dilemma and make one step toward, I don't know, not perfection, but one
Yeah.
step toward the dream that you hope
That's
to
right.
have. And you should celebrate that.
Yeah. And you know what you could celebrate? When you go around your entire house and make sure those screw heads are all vertical. I want pictures of these things in our inbox as soon as possible.
Okay, or if you are like us, please tell us that we are not alone, that those screw heads need to be vertical, because we do have some family members that will tease and say, we're just going to come over to your house and randomly
We're
make
gonna
some of them askew.
turn them wrongly. Hey, I have a wrench to throw in the plan of celebrating your success. What if every once in a while you celebrated a failure?
Oh,
You ever heard that before? Like a kid comes home with a bad grade on their report card, and instead of scolding them and grounding them, hey, we're going out for dinner.
I don't think we've ever scolded or grounded a kid for a bad grade.
Well, I know, but there are some of you out there that do. and I think, I've heard of that, and I don't remember doing that per se, but I think that's can be a good idea from time to time, because guess what that would do? Hey, that would lift their spirits, because they're thinking, I'm going to come home, mom and dad's going to be so mad at me. I didn't do well on this test, or I flunked, even worse,
Yeah.
And then you go, that's all right, let's go to dinner. Let's
That's
go
right.
get some cake or something.
Or even just a hug.
Or a big hug.
That says, it's okay.
Yeah. So you can
Well,
celebrate. I think you can celebrate failure sometimes, because, those are the things that help us learn and progress, which is what we're trying to emphasize.
That's right. We hope this helped you out if you're struggling with that battle of perfectionism. If you have any additional tips or tricks that help you get over that perfectionism mindset, be sure to leave a comment below, because not only are you helping us, but you might be helping someone else who will read those comments and maybe benefit from your wisdom.
Hey, if you like what you are listening to or watching, then please subscribe to the Your Home Renewed podcast here on YouTube, or on any other app that you might use and stream podcasts. Listen to us while you're running or exercising or DIYing your room or going to the grocery store, or perhaps even washing your windows. Maybe listen to us while you're straightening your screw heads.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Come back next week where we have a whole new episode waiting for you.
Yes, we do. Goodbye.